Hey, high schoolers, leaders. This is the LC Foster Yankee, and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of Curriculum Chats. In this video, I'll be discussing Section 1, Lesson 3 in the Antigone. We'll get started with the goals, tics, and helps for this lesson. For our goals, we have students discussing and writing about the explicit or implicit meanings of Antigone, analyzing how thematic ideas are developed through characterization and plot in the play, how Sophocles develops complex yet believable characters, especially Creon, through cultural settings and events, as well as the function of dramatic conventions such as the Greek chorus. The three texts for this lesson are the text and Antigone by Sophocles. We have two videos, Antigone, the ancient Greek chorus, and Antigone, family versus state. The materials for this lesson are the Antigone character argument note-taking tool, video note-taking tool, vocabulary and context tool, vocabulary journal, and the annotating and note-taking and questioning reference guides, as well as the Section 1 question set. In this lesson, students will continue to read and explore Antigone through new characters, speeches, and dialogue. They will also begin to look at character arguments, claims, and perspectives. This lesson begins with students reviewing whether they think Ismene or Antigone has stronger support for their respective arguments to either abide by Creon's law or not, and noting which thematic ideas are at the heart of each sister's argument. They will meet with a small group and use their findings from their character argument note-taking tool and lines 1 through 116 from Antigone as a basis for their conversations for Ismene and Antigone. Per the teaching notes, teachers should circulate among the class as discussions are being held. This will help them understand how students are grappling with the idea of loyalty, as well as how they are using their annotations and the character argument note-taking tool to support their reading and thoughts about the characters and the decisions they are making. It is also suggested that teachers keep the central question on a sentence strip or anchor chart for students to reference visually, which also happens to be a literacy commitment. Students can also add sticky notes of text evidence from quotes to add to this conversation and understanding of how loyalty is developed and contested throughout the play. In the next activity, students meet the chorus, which may be represented by different students reading selected lines or many students doing a choral read, and read or listen as their classmates read from lines 117 through 179 in Antigone. Students then respond to the questions on the screen in their learning log, referring to lines 117 through 179 from the chorus, and providing text evidence as they read to support their thinking and writing. Once students have responded using appropriate text evidence, they work with a partner or in a small group to discuss the questions from lines 117 through 179. Then they discuss the question on the screen. They read the lines aloud together in a small group. Finally, students answer the questions seen on the screen as a quick write in their learning log. Lots of juicy teaching notes for this activity. I'll cover teaching strategies and decisions, but make sure to go back and check out the About the Author, Concept, Text, Topic, and Student Support and Differentiation sections. Teachers should consider allowing students portraying the chorus acting as the citizens of Thebes to stand and read this first ode aloud. Students might take individual parts or read the section together. Lines 156 through 163 might be particularly effective for a choral read. Try various approaches so students see and feel how the chorus can act as a unifying body. They might also provide students a summary of the chorus's ode after they have performed it and listened to it. If they are struggling with understanding what has happened, the teacher might model a few lines on the whiteboard or smartboard so students can hear them think aloud. They might also model responding to one of the questions in the question set, writing one of their own, or having students come up with a good question in a small group. This ensures students are reading carefully and are choosing relevant and appropriate textual evidence. As students encounter the question set, teachers should decide how to partner them, which of any of the questions they want to model, and where students will keep the questions and responses for ongoing reference for text evidence used in the section diagnostic, culminating task, or for their understanding of the class. In Activity 3, students watched a short video Antigone, the ancient Greek chorus, by the National Theater to gain information about how a director chose to portray the chorus from Antigone. They used the guiding questions on the screen to help them take notes on their video note-taking tool as they watch. Further teaching notes, this video is a modern-day adaptation of a staged version of the play. Note that there will be other short videos excerpted from this same adaptation throughout the unit. In this particular adaptation, the director made modern choices with a 12-member chorus working in an office setting for a shared community experience. In one of the interviews with an actor, he makes an important point that in this interpretation, the director chooses to have the chorus think with different points of view. Each chorus member has a different role or job in the office, but when one thinks of an office, it does require a team approach to success. This might be a great chance to talk to students about different translations, adaptations, and choices. They may have had this same experience with other texts in their educational experiences, such as with Romeo and Juliet. Teachers should consider modeling how the students should use the video note-taking tool for the video activity. Students should be able to note differences between how the actors delivered the lines and how the lines were read. Next, students silently read through and annotate Creon's opening speech in lines 180 through 235, using the questions on the screen to guide their reading. Then they choose 2 to 3 lines from the speech that seem significant or resonate with them, and explain why they chose these lines as meaningful to Creon's speech. Then, students add the following words, phrases, or terms to their vocabulary journal. They use the dictionary or digital dictionary, knowledge of Greek or Latin roots, or their vocabulary and context tool to help them determine the meaning of the words from the context around them. After they have tried to understand the meaning of the above terms, students compare notes with a peer using the following questions on screen to guide their discussion. In this activity's next step, students read over Creon's speech again and respond in their learning log to the questions on the screen. After they have worked through these questions, they compare their responses in pairs or trios. In this activity's final step, the teacher will reread Creon's introductory speech, his ship of state speech aloud, lines 180 through 235. As they switch focus to a new character, students use a new character argument note-taking tool and use the questions on the screen to take note of characters' claims and counterclaims as they listen and read along. Then, with a partner, students discuss their responses on the character argument note-taking tool, as well as questions 2 and 3. Again, lots of juicy teacher notes for the many steps in this activity. Teachers should allow students to productively struggle through Creon's opening speech by allowing quiet time for silent reading, annotating for meaning, and working with vocabulary. By now, students are aware of the war, the victory of Thebes, the death of both brothers of Antigone and Ismene, and the implementation of the decree regarding the body of Polynices. This will allow them to understand much of Creon's opening speech. After they have worked through the speech silently, teachers should read Creon's speech aloud with appropriate prosody. Their fluent interpretation and delivery will add more comprehension to this important introduction of Creon to their students. After they have finished reading, teachers might want to ask students what and how the reading impacted their understanding, always allowing for specific text evidence by asking questions such as, what words or phrases helped you understand that? Can you tell me where you found that in the text? What makes you say that? Or tell us more about that by showing us in the text. Teachers should also allow students to work together to add to their character argument note-taking tool. and to answer the questions listed under the student section. As always, they should model an appropriate response to one of the questions in order for students to have an example with which to work. The answer should involve direct and relevant textual evidence. Finally, students will continue to add to their comprehension with ideas and questions from the question set. This will allow teachers to formatively assess what students were able to garner from this section of the play. In the next activity, students watched a short video, Antigone, Family versus State, by the National Theater to gain information about how the director chose to portray Creon's ship of state speech and use the following guiding questions on the screen to help them take notes on their video note-taking tool as they watch. After they watch the video, students share their ideas and thoughts with their peers, making sure to add insights from their classmates to their notes. To set the stage for this modern adaptation, teachers might have students participate in a think aloud and ask them to share any knowledge of an old movie or book that has been made modern. What might be interesting to watch for example, technology or language. The language in the video will not strictly follow Fagel's translation of Sophocles' Antigone. His speech consists of lines 180 through 235, and some of the language in the video will be the same. This might be a good chance to discuss why directors make certain choices, as do authors, poets, translators, and speechwriters. For this lesson's final activity, students read lines 236 through 280 and use a new character argument note-taking tool to take notes on the interaction between Creon and the century, using the following questions on screen to guide their reading, and adding new or interesting words to their vocabulary journal as they encounter them. Per the teaching notes, for students who need extra support, teachers might have them work in pairs or small groups and read aloud to each other. Some vocabulary support can also be provided by glossing or explaining words that might be an obstacle to understanding. The terms mulling, trudged, barricading, and rights might be such obstacles. Right, on to the cup for this lesson. We have students who will know Creon's main claims and evidence in his ship of state introductory speech, understand how Creon's values and views inform his leadership, and be able to analyze how Sophocles develops complex yet believable characters, especially Creon, through cultural settings and events, using a video note-taking tool to take notes. Right, so that is a wrap for Section 1, Lesson 3. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.